Hello, and welcome to Volunteering in the Valley. I'm your host, Michael Morris. Our show is dedicated to showcasing the wide variety of volunteering opportunities here in the Merrimack Valley. This episode will highlight Horizon for Homeless Children, and today we're at Casa de Nueva Vida.
What's the goal of the shelter?
Our goal is to help the residents to gain the education and the skills necessary to be able to pull themselves out of poverty.
When the place-based program first started back, I think in like 1990, we had opened up one place-based program in Boston. And since then, it's expanded throughout Massachusetts. So we actually have our place-based program in over 150 family shelters throughout Massachusetts. Here in the Northeast region, we have 27 family shelters. So they're primarily in Lowell, Lawrence, and the North Shore, Lynn, Malden, Revere, areas, and currently there's about 320 children that are living in those family shelters.
Casa Nueva Vida has existed for 26 years. In Lawrence, we are extended from Jamaica Plain, and we are open for 4 years already.
As with any charitable organization, securing funds is very important. Kelly explains some of the ways Horizon deals with their fundraising.
70% of our funds actually come from individuals and corporations, so we rely heavily on both individual donations, corporate sponsors, as well as we do several main, big events throughout the year. So we really rely on, people and organizations to help us out.
Doris explains how they help the families that come to live at Casa de Nueva Vida.
First, they go through an interview with me, and we talk about different options for them depending on what they like to do. And some of them will come with some schooling. Some of them will come with great desires to succeed in life. So once I see a family like that, I grab them and make sure we help them with the colleges, with referrals and different programs. And we also post out in the bulletin board, we post jobs openings, we post schools and any referrals that we can make to the valley.
How did you get involved with Horizons?
I actually started as a volunteer. So I was looking for a volunteer opportunity, and as a mother I was interested in doing something with children, so I came across the volunteer opportunity with Horizons. I started volunteering and working in the homeless shelter. I got more involved with the place-based office in the Northeast region, which is in Lawrence. And the more I found out about the organization, the more I just fell in love with it. I knew that it was just such a great cause, the people were really wonderful, and just as kind of luck would have it, there was an opportunity that opened up and I applied for it, and I got the director position, and I've been here since. So I've been here almost a year.
Once the kids come here and they see the playroom, and then we talk about volunteers, they already they're already waiting for someone, because we talk about the volunteers all the time. We talk about how great they are. We talk about how they can help them to do homework. They can help them with the tutoring, and they can do educational games with them. So they really, before they get here, they're waiting for them.
What is a PAL?
So what we mean by PAL is Place-Based Activity Leader, and that's the name that how we refer to our volunteers. And it's actually really easy to become a PAL. We're looking for people that are just committed to helping children and just kind of have a love to play. That's really the only requirement. We do ads in local area newspapers, so like the Lowell Sun and the Eagle Tribune, things like that. But we also post our information on a lot of the free websites that are out there. So whether it's just doing a Google search if you look for our agency, Craigslist is actually a popular one. We post on that all the time.
It was as easy as seeing it in the newspaper. I get the Newburyport Daily News. I live down that way, and it just happened to say, playing with children, need volunteers.
Looked in Craigslist and saw that there was an opportunity to work with children, which is part of my profession as a teacher, and thought that I would look into it further, and that's how I came to this particular group.
So not only are you making a difference in the lives of the children, but you're really part of a community there.
How important are volunteers?
It is very important because they're role models for them, and they do a great job.
I was looking for another interest in my life. I've been working in the corporate world for 23 years and I want to kind of tame down from that a little bit. And I was looking for something outside. I had done a lot of volunteer work attending benefits, raising funds for different organizations, and I thought I would try to go in the other way and maybe, you know, go from the bottom and come in here and work with the kids themselves.
I think the fact that it was a homeless shelter and that we would be working with kids in a play activity kind of situation, doing arts and crafts and that kind of thing, which is all part of, you know, what I love most to do.
Kelly and the volunteers discussed the training involved in being a PAL.
We offer training sessions throughout the year. We have about 6 training sessions, and each training session would be about 5 hours.
It was a full day, different role-playing questions, using materials. It was great. One of the activities was they handed you something. So you were in groups of, say, 5 or 6, and everybody was handed a different object, and you might have been handed an apron, and you were told to figure out what to do with it for someone that was a year old to someone that was 7 years old.
And then from there, we asked, you know, their availability for where they're able to help us out, whether it's in the morning or whether it's in the evening. We match that to the availability of the shelters and what their needs are. And then within a few weeks after the training, they'd be assigned what we call a shift, and they'd be working and helping out at the shelter.
They're here 4 times a week, Monday to Thursday between 6 and 8. And they help with the homeworks. They're playing, they're enjoying in there. There's a nice time for the kids. That's a beautiful time for them and for the parents too, because I know they learn a lot from the little kids too. Yeah, it's just an amazing time.
And what's really nice is that we only ask for a 2-hour-a-week commitment for a minimum of 6 months, and it really acts as if it is a shift. So once you're assigned to shelter, it's the same day, same time.
I think anyone could benefit from knowing that there are needs out there and that possibly you'd be able to help.
You're never too old just to play, and just being able to go in and play with the kids, whether it's just Play-Doh or doing, like, you know, artwork or things like that. I find the volunteers really, they have fun.
I think you see real world, not only just the interaction with the kids, but you're seeing a shelter in itself. Makes you grateful for what you have.
You know, the children alone make it worthwhile for me. I love doing what I'm doing. I love working with the people I work with, and the staff here has been fabulous, and to me it's very gratifying.
I mean, they're like sitting on the floor, they're engaged with the children, and it makes such a big difference. The children have such inconsistency in their lives, so just the fact that they now have a consistent pal that they know is going to show up each week is such a huge thing for the children. And oftentimes we'll hear pals say, "Oh, I went to go to my shift this week, and I looked up as I was coming out of my car, and there was like 2 kids in the window just like waiting for me to come," and that feels great, you know. And so not only do the pals really look forward to it, but the kids obviously, you know, really look forward to the pals coming as well.
Seeing kids light up when you arrive and them hugging you and saying, "Oh, what are we going to do today?" and being excited about whatever it is, because it's, you know, something other than what they've been doing.
And one of the nice things about our volunteer program is that the volunteers never volunteer alone. So you're with at least 1, possibly 2 or 3 other volunteers, depending on how large the particular shelter is.
We need to take a quick break for commercial, but we hope you stay tuned.
Okay. Good night, honey.
Can you kiss Smokey too?
Sure, I can kiss Smokey too. Good night, Smokey. Sleep dreams, okay? Night, hon. I love you.
Look around you. 1 in 4 kids in the U.S. faces hunger. It's not always easy to see the signs, but in this land of plenty, there are kids that don't know where they will get their next meal. Join Share Our Strength in Food Network and take the pledge to end childhood hunger here in America by 2015. Learn how at NoKidHungry.org. Their next meal could come from you.
These are some of the areas in the playroom that the kids use. These are some of the puppets that the younger children like. There's a chest of some clothes that they can put on as well for dress up. Some of the other activities, just the different ages of the kids. It's just all the stimulus that we can give them. The kitchen area is special for the kids. They love to just open and bring all the stuff and dump it all out. Lots of blocks and building things. The younger kids like to build and then just break it down. But the quiet time, though, is really, there's an area over here on the rug that we would just be able to use, and the kids could read. You might take one or two over and just read them a story.
So at this shelter, there's an opportunity for the kids to make posters, and they love seeing their work up on the wall, and people get a chance to sign it, and it represents everyone in the community kind of feel at the shelter. We have toys for all ages, like these little toys here on the floor. We have costumes and blankets for the kids so that they can role play and kind of use their imagination, which I think is really important, something that we don't do enough of, in my opinion, these days.
I sat down with Kelly, and she showed me some of the different activities that are available for the volunteers and shelters.
We also don't ask any of the volunteers to purchase any of the supplies. We'll provide all of that for them.
Okay.
Yeah, and then our next one, which actually is my favorite, that's arts and crafts, which I love, and you're never too old to play with Play-Doh.
Oh no, never.
So Play-Doh is actually one of our biggest hits. So kids love Play-Doh, as well as we have crayons, we have paints, coloring books. So there's a variety of arts and crafts activities. So we can do open-ended activities where at the beginning of a shift, a pal could be putting out crayons and Play-Doh, and as the kids come in, they go right to the table, they start to play, and then once all the children come in, then they can begin the shift. So Play-Doh is a really popular one.
Arts and craft cabinet that's just really filled with all kinds of different things that we use: paper, crayons, markers, puzzles and games. And when we are running low on different supplies, we let the office know, and they purchase the supplies for us and stock our cabinets. So
we also just want to kind of remind them that literacy is everywhere, and in all the activities that they're doing, just exposing the kids to language is a really, really beneficial thing. It's not important to know which area of play that we're referring to, as long as the pals just say, there are many supplies and there's many different ways to engage the children during the shift, and we certainly, as I mentioned, provide all the supplies that they need. And really, the kids will tell you what they want to do. So even though it's great to kind of come up with some ideas ahead of time, like, oh, I think I want to do a craft activity and maybe a game, which is great. But if the kids don't want that plan, you need to have some things in your back pocket, which we always have. And again, we provide a lot of resources like that for the training, as well as you can let the kids direct. I mean, oftentimes these children don't have the ability or don't have the opportunity to make choices, and that's a really hard thing. So if you have a young child that's coming in and you say to them, you know what, do you want to play with puppets, or do you want to play in the kitchen and pretend you're at a restaurant? Giving them that power to really say, you know what, they can choose is, it's a simple thing, but it's so important for the children.
It goes a long way.
It really does. It really does.
How did someone contact Horizons?
I think the best way to find out is to go on our website, which is www.horizonschildren.org/playspaces, and that will give you information about the upcoming training. There's an online application that you can fill out directly, as well as it provides more detail about the program and about the work that we do as an agency.
Well, I think that if you love children and you love being able to give back to society, in my case, I felt like it was a perfect match, and I'm sure that it would be for other people too. It's wonderful to be able to give back, to be able to volunteer and know that the time that you're spending is making a difference.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek,
Newtown.
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
Enough.
Enough. Enough.
Demand a plan.
Right now.
As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 We'd like to thank you for joining us for this edition of Volunteering in the Valley. We'd hope you join us next time. And remember, random acts of kindness pay dividends, so do something nice for somebody today. Thanks. This is Mike from Horizon for Homeless Children's Center saying toodaloo.